wanted to ask you just about reading in general before we get to the nitty gritty of all the different things and aspects of publishing we're talking about. But I want to talk just about reading and your love of reading. When you've been an editor, I think you said for about 5 years with Dutton, before you then went on and became a book reviewer. Does that make you a harder reviewer, having been part of the process, or did you find that you were a little bit more forgiving because you know how hard authors had worked for you?
Well, that's a really interesting question. I've never really thought about that before. I think that it might have made me a little bit more empathetic. I do think that there can be a type of reviewing where the reviewer just gets a lot of pleasure at delivering the most emphatic hatchet job possible, because it's really fun to write hatchet jobs. But actually, I think I was a little bit protected from having to even make those kinds of analyses, because Booklist was a recommended only journal. So it's really meant as a tool for libraries to select. It's a selection tool. So if a book wasn't deemed at or above a certain level of quality, it just didn't get reviewed at all. So I was protected from having to deliver the hatchet job. But I think if I had been working at a review journal that allowed for a little more criticism, I think I probably would have erred on the side of being more empathetic, yes.
That's one of the policies I had to make back when I was reviewing books more regularly at the blog, is I had the seemingly impossible policy of I only talked about the good qualities of the books. I only talked about the things I liked. I never mentioned the negative qualities, which maybe doesn't make for the most fair and balanced review you're ever going to see. But it forced me to be a lot kinder to authors than I would have been otherwise, because I tend to be over hard on books, because I feel like I'm working really hard. When I see some other author that may or may not be their fault appears to have fallen down on the job, that just makes me angrier.
I think that authors really rely on the author community for support, and I think it's a totally reasonable policy decision to emphasize the positive in that situation, for sure.
And if I hadn't made that decision, this would be a very lonely podcast.
You might be right.